The first speaker of the morning, and you have information about him in your press kit, is Dr. Robert Van Howe.
The glasses are a sign that you're getting old. Good morning, and thank you for letting me be a part of this important event. Today we're here to celebrate. We're here to celebrate that every human is an autonomous person worthy of respect, and more specifically to celebrate the dignity and autonomy of infants, who should have the same rights to be protected from unwanted intrusion and the right to make their own decisions about their own bodies. We're here to change the way society views children, particularly infant boys, in regards to circumcision. Circumcision is not a benign medical procedure like a vaccination, but it's a culturally loaded amputation of a highly significant functional body part. Common sense tells us that as a normal part of the human anatomy, the foreskin is valuable. Before cutting it off, there needs to be a compelling public health threat that outweighs the infant's right to security of person and to bodily integrity. But where is that threat? Well, circumcision was introduced in the 19th century to eliminate masturbation, but it didn't work. Since then, several other health threats have been blamed on the foreskin and then dismissed one by one as falsehoods. Now we have heterosexually transmitted HIV. Well, the United States has the highest rate of heterosexually transmitted HIV among developed nations, and we also have the highest rate of circumcision among developed nations. So clearly the circumcision experiment has failed to protect the U.S. from HIV. If circumcision was a new procedure, and we look at the evidence objectively, the FDA would not approve it. Yet there is a small vocal group calling for universal amputation of the foreskin. They compare it to a vaccination, but the comparison really falls short because the average adult is willing to get vaccinated against disease, but most adult males are unwilling to become circumcised. More importantly, vaccines are effective while circumcision is not. By usurping the vaccine analogy, the focus shifts away from convincing reluctant adults to practice safe sex to preying on the unfounded fears of new parents. Infants and children, unless they're sexually molested, do not get sexually transmitted infections or HIV. It's most likely that the falling rates of circumcision in the United States has prompted this sudden surge in the interest in circumcision promotion. The circumcision experiment was failing in the United States, so researchers had to move to Africa, where the latest health threat, the AIDS crisis, was at its zenith. Armed with a few deeply flawed studies performed by a handful of investigators, circumcision proponents are capitalizing on the situation by spreading their opinions like manure across the medical literature landscape, calling on national medical organizations to recommend circumcision for all newborn males. But newborns don't get sexually transmitted HIV, so why can't the baby make the choice when he's old enough to make the choice for himself? Circumcision is the most commonly performed surgery in the United States, yet it's nearly impossible to have a rational discussion about it. Only recently, with the open discussion of female genital cutting, are Americans beginning to realize that genital cutting is wrong, regardless of the child's gender. To have a rational discussion, all the facts need to be on the table, not just those that the editors of our medical journals or those running the Centers for Disease Control see fit. Our culture has to stop portraying normal genitalia as dangerous, foreign, and filthy. The word needs to get out that the foreskin is the most precious, sensitive portion of the penis. As a friend of mine put it, it's not the wrapper, it's the candy. The word has to get out that it's all right for a child to be different than their fathers. We have to celebrate our differences. I have two sons. Both are much better looking and much better musicians than I am. I can live with that, and occasionally they let me jam with them. The word has to get out that circumcision is not required by the law, not required by schools, not required for admission to the military, and it's not about cleanliness. So instead of trying to create a crisis where one does not exist, the medical profession should be working to protect and care for the foreskin. We need to teach physicians what the foreskin is, what it does, and how to properly care for it. We need to teach physicians that they are ethically bound to protect and treat the infant, not the parents. When parents ask physicians to circumcise their sons, physicians, who generally like to make people happy, will oblige, and then they get paid for it. The problem is that the ethical canons of medicine require that the physician refuse. If the same parents asked a similar operation on their daughter, it would be illegal. If the same parents asked the physician to cut off the infant's little toe, it would not only be illegal, but the physician would find it abhorrent, unethical, and would refuse to do so. Even if a family wanted one of their children to donate a kidney to a sibling, the physician would not be allowed to do so because the donor would not benefit. What is ironic is that physicians are much less likely to circumcise their own boys than the boys in the families they take care of. As Maya Angelou said, when you know better, you do better. The position of the American Academy of Pediatrics Committee on Bioethics is that unnecessary procedures should wait until the child is old enough to decide for himself. It is time for physicians to respect the integrity of all children and to say no to this harmful intrusion into a child's life. This is how you treat a child with dignity. And now that we know better, let's go out and do better.